Burge. I'm the owner and president of Applied Food Solutions. It's going to be quick this morning. As a sponsor, you got about 2 minutes, so I'm going to talk a little bit about what we do, give you a story, and I think questions, Amy, will probably wait till the end of the meeting. This is the model for the organization. It's all about improvement. The food science part is where the business started. That's not what this group's probably interested in. So talk a little bit about troubleshooting, training, and continuous improvement methods, but rather than go through a nice boring bullet list about all those things, I decided to tell a little story about a very important part of continuous improvement, and that's quality as a business strategy. To illustrate that, I'd like to talk about driving cars. Here was my family's car in 1973. Most of you probably never experienced this, but in 1973, you probably drove a car that was made by either General Motors, Ford, Chrysler, or American Motors. There were a few foreign cars. Most of those were German, like VW, so on and so forth. So here's a little bit about it. These cars were big, kind of like driving a boat. They got about 8 miles to the gallon, and they lasted about 60,000 miles. Let's say that again. Most of you didn't. I'm going to say nobody in here experienced this. Nobody was driving 47 years ago, right? These things lasted about 60,000 miles. You knew people that had one that lasted 100. That was unusual. Most of the time, the repairs got so expensive, 60, you went and got a new one. Well, in 1975, along came a thing called the oil and gas crisis. Gas goes from a reasonable 33.9 per gallon to 109.9, $1.10, the terrible price. All of a sudden, everything changed, and this is what it changed to. This is what came in. They were small, which meant originally they were never very good in the American market. So they get about 25 miles a gallon, so now that takes the triple the price of gas. Now you've got triple the mileage. But the part that really changed the world for the United States was that these things lasted almost forever. People started buying them, and they're going 100, 200,000 miles with just standard maintenance with no problem. The big change was that the Japanese had invested in quality as a business strategy. And once they got into the market, they changed it forever. In fact, almost put the American companies out of business, and I think the rest that you're well aware of, they're well entrenched.